So when it comes to Pollock, we start with Autumn Rhythm, number 30. With Autumn Rhythm, made in October of 1950, the artist is at the height of his powers. He's well known at this point. The article has just happened. He's being well received. Now, in this non-representational picture, thinned paint was applied to unprimed, unstretched canvas that laid flat on the floor rather than being propped on an easel. Paint will be poured, dripped, dribbled, scumbled, flicked, and splattered, the pigment being applied in these very unorthodox methods. And the artist is using house paint, which is going to make life a lot more difficult when we try and prove what is or isn't a Pollock. The artist also uses sticks, trowels, and knives. In short, anything but the traditional painter's implements. And when he does use the traditional painter's implements, he's not using them in a traditional way. He's doing this to build up dense lyrical compositions comprised of intricate skeins of line. And the artist is working with the canvas flat on the floor, constantly moving around it while applying the paint and working from all four sides. As we see here, he's actually stepping onto the painting, he's working around it. It's a very non-traditional way of doing things, but we could imagine the paint as it flicks off that brush recording the movements, for example, of his arm. Now, there is no central point of focus in the piece. There is no hierarchy of elements in this composition in which every bit of the surface is equally significant. The work is really a record of its process, of how it came into being. It's a dynamic visual sensation. We see something buoyant, heavy, graceful, arcing, swirling, and sometimes pooling the colors. And this is direct evidence of the very physical choreography of applying the paint with this artist's new method. And here we see a detail of that, where some of the paint is soaked into that canvas. Other paint is sitting on the surface, having fallen onto a previously splattered area. Spontaneity will be a critical element, but lack of premeditation should not be confused with seating control. As Pollock stated, I can control the flow of paint. There is no accident. So what's he trying to do here, and how do you even begin to deal with this? Well, these are immense paintings. They're going to take up your entire field of vision if you stand 3 to 6 feet away from them, the proper viewing distance. There's a reason for that. He wants to block out anything else that you could look at. Now, when you look at it, what you're supposed to do is pay attention to the train of thought, that line of thought that's constantly running through your head. The one right now that's saying, wow, this guy is not as exciting as I would have hoped. And when you look at a painting like this, with your field of vision being filled with the painting, what you want to do is pay attention to that train of thought. How does it change? Do you notice different emotions? Do you start to see things in the painting even though we know they aren't there? That's all going to bring out your unconscious, and that's kind of what Pollock is trying to do. He's trying to draw out your own experience, your own interpretation, and in a sense, your own subconscious and unconscious thoughts. He's trying to draw them to the surface. Now, what this also means is every time you look at a painting like this, like Autumn Rhythm, you're going to see something different. You're going to key in on something different. One time you might look at it and you've had a really good day and you see it as very uplifting, and the next day it's very chaotic. It's finals, the world seems like it's going to end, and it gives you a sense of chaos. So because there's nothing representational there, and there's nothing that we can associate a concrete idea with, the painting is constantly changing for us. So something like this you'd want to go back to day after day, standing there looking at it, seeing your train of thought. You only have to stand in front of it for a few minutes to get this effect, but you do need to stand there rather than simply walking away and saying, it's a bunch of paint on a canvas, I could do that.